Been offering these little practices to bring resolve alive on a daily basis, and I'd like to continue with that today and offer a practice of checking in on our well-being from a mindful perspective. Right. This practice is intended to be done on and off the cushion. And it comes out of my own practice, one that I've done for many times throughout the day and for many years. It's easy. It's an easy way to get a pulse on what's actually happening, on the impact that the moment is having on us, as well as offering a way to restore balance and harmony. So this is a practice of checking in using the building blocks of experience, the same ones the Buddha used: body, breath, heart, and mind. These are what we use when we're setting up the practice, and this is what we use when we're doing the dishes. It's always the same: body, breath, heart, mind come along for the ride. But each aspect is different and has a different reaction to the experience that is happening at the moment. And each one deserves and needs to be attended to alone and together in order to restore balance. The beauty of checking in this way, body, breath, heart, and mind, is that it immediately removes the self with all of its opinions, judgments, and preferences from the equation. This helps us so we can see more clearly. So mindfulness, instead, we're using mindfulness to break experience down into its component parts, which is what gives us the latitude to be able to figure out what is needed in a more nuanced way to restore balance. And the beauty of this kind of practice is that it's easy to remember. We can do this on and off the cushion, so it's very portable. On and off the cushion, we're always returning to the same thing. We're checking in the same way. We're checking in on the domain of the body. What is the body feeling like? What is breathing feeling like? What is the attitude of the heart? And what's going on in the mind? So imagine, let's play this out. Imagine that you're standing in a grocery line, 7 people deep, right? Now, perhaps you might notice that you start to grumble, that irritation and impatience arise. And then at some point, you wake up and you notice the grumbling. Now, having noticed the negative chatter in the mind, we can take that moment and deliberately check in. So once we check in, the checking in gives us the possibility of reorienting out of stress and orienting towards well-being. That's what we want. That's what we want. Catch ourselves when we're in the middle of stress and figure out what do we need to unwind from the stress in real time. Once we notice, we can take a breath, withdraw unwise attention from the chatter of the mind, tether attention to the breath to the body to the ground, and then stay inside. Stay inside and feel what's happening in real time. One more time. We notice the chatter of the mind. We withdraw unwise attention from that line of thinking, tether attention to the breath. Inhale. Tether the breath to the body to the ground, and then stay in the body and feel inside. So when we feel inside, feel into the body. What does the body feel like? What is it doing? What position is it in? Is it slumped over on the handle of the grocery cart? Is it gripping the handle? Are the hands flipping mindlessly through a bad magazine at the checkout counter? Or are we scrolling the phone, right? As a way of distracting, but what is the body doing? Notice what the body is doing. Now, can we deliberately unfurl the body in the field of gravity? Can we stretch it out long, open wide, soften and widen and settle all the way down through the body into the base onto the ground right there as we're standing or as we're sitting? Can the body come into a little bit more of a comfortable posture of standing or sitting? Right there. Nothing fancy. But these are two classic body postures that the Buddha recommended we practice in, sitting and standing. And the other two are walking and lying down. Those four classic postures are what get us through the day. So at any time we're learning, like, what does it feel like in the body, and how can we help that body in that posture to feel more comfortable? And here's a little hint. The body feels more comfortable and uses less effort and feels more at ease when it is as aligned as possible in the field of gravity. When we are misaligned, we're using more effort. We have to work to kind of pull ourselves up. When we kind of feel into that alignment, it's dynamic, but we can begin to feel into something that feels a little bit less pressured, a little more comfortable, a little more relaxed. And that's what we're going for. Next is you feel into breathing. What does the breathing feel like in that moment? Is it fast? Is it shallow? Is it thready? Is it tight? Are you breathing through your nose or your mouth? Does breathing feel comfortable? How can it be supported to feel a little bit more comfortable? Maybe right there, take a few deliberate deep inhalations and deep exhalations, and then just let the breath find its own rhythm. But we open up the breath body by taking a few deeper than usual inhalations and deeper than usual exhalations and let it go. The other way we might play with, and this is all for your experimentation and playing with what feels comfortable, but perhaps lengthening the exhalation, which already kind of orients the nervous system away from fight flight and more toward calm and relaxation. And that's what we want, right? So all we're doing is we're trying to just pay attention to what is the breathing like and see what we can do to help the breathing to then feel more comfortable. Then feel into the heart. What is the attitude like right now? Well, it might be irritation and impatience, because that's what you first woke up into, was the awareness of feeling irritated and impatient. Okay, that's a good start. That's a good start. And we can appreciate the noticing of that, and with a sense of bring forward, if we can, a sense of care, a sense of friendliness, or even tolerance for the experience of impatience that's really here. That in and of itself is a kindness, to make a little more room for the experience of impatience. That's bringing kindness right onto the scene. But even if we can't bring friendliness, it's so important that we notice that any move that we make to bring forward the grumbliness of the heart, like when the heart is not settled, to bring that forward and to hold that in kindness, that holding in kindness is where the heart comes in. Don't miss that. That we can then rest our heart right there on that attitude of, all right, I'm feeling impatient right now, but I'm just going to keep kindly breathing with that and making room for it and not putting another log on the fire. That's good practice, really good practice. Sometimes we can't do even that. And I'd say, see what you can do about whispering kind reminders into your ear. Just like, okay, all right, impatience is here, but I'm going to keep doing my best to orient toward being kind. I'm going to grow my kindness one moment at a time, one moment of impatience at a time. That's how I'm going to grow my kindness and my patience. So these noticings become part of what's happening. Like we're using the noticings themselves as, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is right on. This is good practice. What we're trying to do is bring forward that sense of kindness and care, because caring attention is an important element to the practice. So then we move down to feeling into what is going on with the mind. Feel into the mind. What are we thinking about? Are we distracted by reading the bad magazine or scrolling of our phone or judging or criticizing other people that are walking by? How about giving the mind some wholesome task, the wholesome task of watching over the experience of our well-being? we say that is what we're going to orient toward. That's what we're going to focus our attention upon. And then we encourage the mind to notice what is happening through different lenses of mindfulness, right? How can we bring caring attention and bear wisely and skillfully on this moment, right? Caring attention arises when we bring the heart and the mind together in the same moment. So with caring attention, we are training the heart mind to keep, say, impatience at bay, which requires that impatience be kindly and repeatedly interrupted. They're there. And then we give impatience the room it needs. This is a useful place for attention to rest, a useful place of releasing the tension and noticing the ease that is here. Now, attention, noticing when tension leaves, and then attention noticing when ease is present. This is the name of the game. We can appreciate that. We can appreciate and notice that we're bringing kind and caring attention to the present moment. This is worth our while. This is totally worth our while. So again, all we're doing is we're adjusting with each category, each domain. We're adjusting the body so the body feels comfortable. We're adjusting breathing. We're adjusting the heart toward an attitude of care and attention toward the wholesome quality of our well-being. Now let's imagine sitting in meditation. Halfway through a meditation, you're struggling with knee pain, right? And often what happens is our mind zeroes in on that pain, and the mind gets caught up then in the pain itself, trying to get away from the pain, or starting to raise questions and fears about what it should do. If I stay stay in this position, am I going to cause more pain? Am I going to injure myself? When is it time for me to move? When should I just sit and let it be? When would it be a good time for me to sit and investigate, right? Well, if we're writhing with pain, it's a better thing to move, right? We really want to begin to feel for the pain and be skillful about that. But okay, right there, when pain in the knee comes up and you start and you notice that you're scrambling, take a breath, slow it down, check in, mindfully check in, and let's see what's going on in the whole body, in breathing and in the heart and mind. So what does the whole body feel like, right? Because the whole body is actually experiencing the knee pain, not just the knee. So is the face tight or relaxed? Is the belly tight or relaxed? How about the hands? Color the whole of the body in and encourage it to soften, widen, and settle down. Let it take up as much room as it needs to feel comfortable, so that the whole body can feel as comfortable as it can. And then that whole body is holding that smaller part that is experiencing discomfort. If that feels like too much, then we can go from the whole body, noticing the whole body, to sensing the space around the body and resting attention in the space around the body and feeling into the body has as much room as it needs to feel comfortable. And you keep adjusting, kindly adjusting. Next, feel into breathing. What happens when knee pain is present? How does breathing change when pain is on the scene? It does. So notice, does it grow long or short? Does it grow thready? Do you find that it gets choppy? Is it comfortable? Maybe right there, open up the body, open up the breath body with a few deep inhalations, a few deep exhalations, and let the breath find its own rhythm. Once again, always coming back to feeling into a comfortable breath. What is the attitude like? When knee pain is going on, often when we zero in on that pain, there isn't a lot of friendliness present. Well, how might we invite friendliness there, right? How might we even breathe with a friendly attitude and breathe friendliness right through and in and around that area, so that that area feels deliberately held in mind, in heart, with its pain. right? We're beginning to just train the heart to care about what is really here. This is what we're trying to do, is learning how to speak kindly to the pain and offer to it as if a caregiver might. And then finally, what is happening in the mind? Well, often when pain is present, again, there's a lot of scrambling that the mind is doing to figure out what it can do to solve the problem, to get away from the pain. And it might space out, it might zero in, and it might do a lot of remembering of all of the other times that this has happened and the fear that it's going to cause more damage. It might worry about the future, but notice where your mind leans when pain is present. Okay, now withdraw unwise attention from that. Take a breath, tether attention to the breath, bring the attention down into the body and see what you can unwind. See where you can place caring attention toward your well-being in real time. The mind is a time traveler, so staying in the mind is not useful, but we can take attention out of the mind and bring it down into the whole of the body and begin to play with where might I place attention so that I can soften the experience of pain. For me, for example, I work with a lot of migraines, and one of the places that I have learned to rest attention is at the ear door. And I just I pay attention to just the ambient sounds. The mind then is given something useful, but also neutral to attend to. I'm not jacking up the pain. I'm not feeding the fire of worry, but I'm now just placing it on something that has a little space to it, that allows me to kind of rest in something that's larger than little old me. All right. So whether we're on the cushion or in daily life, checking in on our well-being is a good idea. After all, it's our responsibility. We're given the responsibility to steward our well-being through this lifetime. But since much of the time we're on autopilot and we're kind of like catching the draft of the speed of everyday life, it's good to periodically just hit the pause button and just deliberately for a moment tune in and check. It doesn't take much. It just takes a quick check. What does the body feel like? Oh, it feels a little cramped. Let me open it up. What does breathing feel like? Oh, it's a little short. Let me lengthen the breath. What does the heart feel like? Oh, it feels a little dry and not caring. All right, well, what if Uncle Chuck was standing here? What would he say about my pain? What is the mind doing? It's grumbling. Well, let's give the mind the prompt to focus on the experience of well-being right now and the experience of ease right now. That's good medicine. That's good use of our mindfulness practice, right? Ajahn Chah was once asked what his method of teaching was, and he said, how I teach is that when someone goes a little too far to the left, I say, go right, go right. And when someone goes a little too far to the right, I say, go left, go left. He's giving us these little nudges, little course corrections that we can make. And this is what this practice is doing. It's inviting us, giving us ways, handholds that we can use to begin to shape our experience, come out of the stress and orient a little bit more toward comfort and ease in the present moment, orient toward our well-being. We can do this. This is for our welfare. This is what the Buddha was encouraging us to do. Thank you.